What is going on, everybody? Kika06 back with another test video with a Ryzen 7 8700G, and today we have Halo 2, the Anniversary Edition from the Master Chief Collection. This one was requested, so we want to see how it plays. Before I get into it, I want you guys to know that the links to everything in this test build are in the it's in the information section below, as well as the link to join my Discord. If you have any questions about what you've seen, or if you have any requests, feel free to write them in the comments below, or you can come to the Discord and we can have a chat about it. With that being said, I also will take requests on whatever games you want to see done or tested. I will, if it's cheap, free, or I own the game, I will most definitely make a video and upload it just for you, and I'll tag you whenever it is able to be released. As for this game, Halo 2 Anniversary, we are going through the original graphics preset, the enhanced graphics settings, and then the enhanced graphics settings with FSR on. So those are the only three we're doing today. There's a million other ones. This one has a lot of things that you can change in their settings, but those are the three we went with. So just original settings, which is what we're on now. We were pretty much between 80 and 90 FPS most of the time, and that 1% low is right around 60. As you can see, we are between, well, we're right at 70 right now. So one thing I will say is when you're fighting, it drops down about 20 FPS, but when we're walking around like we are right now, it just jumped up to 100 because we weren't shooting. So there's a lot that goes into it, but the important thing is that those 1% lows don't drop. That's where you would start noticing it, and it would affect your gameplay is if those 1% lows dropped, which they do not. So 80 to 90 FPS was kind of normal for the original settings, which is what we're looking at now. Once we moved it to enhanced with FSR off, it dropped to about 70 to 80 FPS, but again, it depended on where you were. If you were in a gunfight, it would be closer to 60 to 70, but if you were outside, it'd be closer to 90 or 100. That 1% lows stayed around 50. So I also wanted to try out FSR, so I left it on enhanced settings and I turned FSR on to balanced. I believe there was 3 different ones. We just put it on balanced, and it actually smoothed out the game very, very well, and it gave us our highest FPS and our highest 1% lows. And there will be chapters, you can skip to that if you want, but just a little Cliff Notes version for the enhanced settings with FSR on. We were getting 90 to 100 FPS consistently, and that 1% low was pretty much right at 70 that entire time. So FSR does great things in this game, but even without FSR, it was still very playable, and it felt smooth, and there was no issues that I noticed. And if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments. But that is pretty much it for me. Again, if you want to see any other game, put it down below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. But I'm done talking, so enjoy the rest of the video, and I hope to see you at the next one.
We don't have much time. Not a lot of time on the clock, Chief.
armory split! Oh!
Another enemy!
Fire teams to Habitat Delta. Hostiles have taken security station 1.
Hey! What fragile things they are! All hands to pressure zones.
Get the hell out of my armory split! Ah!
Fire teams to Habitat Delta. Hang on, everyone. done. I need a squad at Habitat Delta. All non-combat personnel report to evacuation station.
Come on, Chief, this way.
Almost on board with me.
Don't worry, man. We're on it.
Thanks, Chief. I owe you one.
Fire, Terminal 2.
Not a lot of time on the clock, Chief. Sir, boarders have breached the fire control center. They have a bomb.
Can you defuse it?
Yes, but I'll need the Chief's help to make contact with the detonator.
Chief, get first echelon, you're with me. Blanket those cruisers. Take them out one by one. Second echelon, keep those carriers busy.
Registering all hostile residents. 13 cruisers, 2 soldiers. I'm going loud.
Alert. Border. Port drive out. All hands report to evacuation station. All hands, we are abandoning the station. All personnel, prepare to abandon the station.
What is up, guys? If you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you found them helpful. Over the past couple days, I have tested about 20 different games, and this is kind of the part where I just want to go over with you guys my settings and maybe go over an issue or two that I had. First off, this right here is called FPS Monitor. I got it off of Steam. I believe it was a couple bucks, but this is where I got all the information that was in, I think, all but one of the videos. And I think CS Counter-Strike 2, I think, did not take this. I don't remember. One of them didn't like it and it wouldn't work. But FPS Monitor on Steam, I think it was a couple bucks, but that is exactly what I used. As for this is the Adrenaline. This is the AMD Adrenaline app that you will need if you are going to get the CPU or any of the G series from Ryzen. So HyperRX is well known for it being the best for FPS. It has the Super Res that was on, Fluid Motion Frames 2 that was on, Anti-Lag and Boost. All of these were on. You can go to quality, and I think it's pretty comparable, but based on my research, HyperRX is definitely the one that you want to go to for performance, and you can get all these. You can have your own overlay. You can set it up here. I just didn't do that because I like the way the other one was formatted a little bit better. Here's the system right now. I have 32 gig of RAM installed. There's the Ryzen 7 8700G as advertised. So right now it says there's only 24 gig of RAM, and I will tell you why right now. I went into the BIOS and changed the UMA frame buffer size to 8 gig, which means that I took 8 gig of the physical RAM and turned it into VRAM for the APU, so it would have more power. With 32 gig, that gave us plenty of room since most of the games today did not even get over 20 gig usage of RAM. So that gave us some extra FPS. So that's why I did it. I allocated 8 gig of RAM, and that's why right there. I had a question in my chat before that was asking me what version I was using of Windows. So there it is, Windows 11 Home. There's the version in the OS build. So the next thing that I wanted to show you was AMD Ryzen Master. This is where I go for basically the overclocking, really. So I set it on game mode, turned on Precision Boost Overdrive. On top of that, I came down to SOC voltage. So the GPU SOC voltage was I set it to 1.275, and I will tell you exactly why. Once I got into the more demanding games like Halo and Warzone and Ark, the computer started just resetting on me, and it would just reset and go right back to the login screen. So I did a little bit of research on Reddit and YouTube, and I found one guy that said he had those same exact issues, and he said it was a voltage problem. So he raised it up to 1.275 volts, and it worked flawlessly, and it was stable, and he never had an issue again. I think, if I remember right, it was on like 1.15 or 1.175, something like that. So he didn't raise it a crazy amount, but over the past 7, I believe, the past 7 games that I tested, 0 issues and no issues, no criticals in the event viewer either. A couple other things in the BIOS, like I said, I allocated that VRAM. I made sure that the resize bar was enabled. I set the F clock to 2500 and the U clock was at 3000 because I used 6000 megahertz RAM. And XMP was on for this, by the way, in case you were curious. Let's see what else I have for you guys before we go out. So that FPS monitor app that I use, it showed the 1% and 0.1% lows. And I just want you to know that the first 20 to 30 seconds after I changed to a different graphical setting, it kind of resets that. So the first 20 to 30 seconds are not trustworthy. So if I switch over and you see, oh, it's only 5 FPS for a 1% low for 25 seconds. That's awful. It was not that bad, which is why it went from 5. In most cases, it went from that 5 FPS or 2 FPS all the way up to 30 or 40. It just had to reset, and it basically has to play catch up. One other thing I wanted you guys to understand, all of this testing was done on a 27-inch Asus TUF curved 1080p 165 hertz monitor. The frames were basically the frames were uncapped if it was possible, and if possible, every single one of these games was done in full screen exclusive. And the last thing I wanted you guys to know is that all of the recording and all of the FPS monitoring software was done on the computer while playing the game. So I did go back and I played 5 to 10 of the games over again just to see the difference in the FPS without having to run OBS and FPS monitor. And it came down to about a 5 to 13 FPS differential when the OBS and FPS monitor were turned off. When the game was the only thing running, there was an increase of about 5 to 13 FPS on average. And I know that's kind of a very precise number, and that's just exactly what it was. So that is going to be it for me. If you have any other questions or if you want to see any other games, please feel free. Put them in the comments below, and I will get to them. I plan on keeping this computer for a while. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Don't be safe, don't do anything stupid, and I will catch you guys on the next video.